Welcome to the first episode of the We Forge On podcast. I'm here with Hangry Pixels, Raptor ATX, and Tier Mjolnir, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, well, since it's our first episode, I figured go ahead and kind of go around and do like a roundtable introductions of yourselves, kind of give an idea of who you are, talk a little bit about your community, and if you want to, you could throw in how you came up with your username. And then afterwards, I'll go over the people that aren't here. I'll kind of read their Twitch blurbs, and then we'll kind of go into the next part of the podcast. So, whoever wants to go first.
I vote Hangry because he's up top left.
Oh no. I was thinking that too. I'm like, I'm up. Maybe I'm not on top left on everyone's screen. So,
Short draw.
yeah, no, I'm Hangry Pixels, part-time variety streamer who mostly plays Final Fantasy games. I do stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I try honestly to start at 9:30 at night Eastern time, but sometimes things get in the way and it starts closer to 10.
Recall 12.
What else did you need to know? How we got my username?
Yeah. How did you come up with your username?
It's actually a long, weird story. I signed up for Twitch years and years and years before I started streaming under the name Bacon Knuckles. I didn't like it very much. I figured when I started streaming, I'd look for another name. I just wanted Hangry, just plain old Hangry, but it was taken by some guy who's been sitting on it for like 9 years. So I figured I'd mix it up. I'm a big fan of like the old school pixel art and like the NES, SNES chiptune music. So I came up with Hangry Pixels, and it just kind of stuck.
So I gotta ask, why Bacon Knuckles originally? Like, where did that come from?
I can't even remember. It might have been just one of those things where I plugged in a name generator on the internet or something like that. And,
Yeah.
What do you like? Oh, I like bacon. All right, well here's Bacon Knuckles. All right, that's my name now. I don't know. But yeah, and the HPG portion is me and my younger brothers back in the day wanted to start a YouTube thing called Half Past Gaming, and it was the three of us, and we're kind of off and on with it. It's just pretty much me and my younger brother Zane, who also streams, and the HPG part just kind of, it was supposed to be our little logo or our little name, but it stuck and it's still there.
And who's the third brother?
Grizzer HPG.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Zane, so I want to make sure you mentioned Grizzer too.
Yeah, Grizzer. He's toying with the idea of coming back.
Yeah, he kind of floats in and out of chat.
Yeah, so,
Mostly just to torment you and Zane.
Yeah, and that's how we roll.
As a brother should.
Yes. But that's it. If you haven't been to the channel, it's a lot of I like to put shenanigans. I like to have a nice safe place for everyone that can come in, kind of chill out, relax from their day, just kind of de-stress and watch me be terrible at games and have a good time in chat.
Yeah, you'll know I'm in his chat because I activate the blue screen of death.
Yeah. And scares me every time. Every time. I actually don't have a cup of coffee with me today. I forgot it in the kitchen. So I feel like I should be doing something with it. So I'm doing a lot of this.
Yeah.
I'm
My
looking for my
hands,
cup of coffee.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing with grabbing my water. All right, Raptor. What about your community?
My community.
Yeah. Tell us about yourself.
So that's a tough one. All right. I have a really good heart, but a filthy mouth. So I'm gonna be honest. I tried the no cussing thing for a while. I really did, and then it's just I don't know what happened. It was like it's a problem I can't control. It's a disease.
Yeah.
But again, where Hangry was, it's put down your day. You know what I mean? Work, school, life. It's all tough enough. You know what I mean? We're having fun. We're playing games. You know, and I'm a cool dude, and I got cool people in my chat. You know, I don't let whack jobs come in and ruin people's days or say inflammatory crap. By the way, I'm not going to curse on this. So, yeah.
That's fine. I mean, I already put it as mature audience only for Apple Podcast.
Oh, well, fuck yeah.
I was gonna have a hard time not swearing too, so I'm glad I'm not the only one in Raptors.
Oh, I had to. I had to break it. I had to break it. I'm sorry.
It's
should have done this.
It's
Sorry,
no big
shouldn't
deal.
have done this.
Don't worry
See,
about
I
it.
can't swear because it just doesn't sound right coming from me. I don't have
Yeah.
anything against it.
He's
it
too
just sounds
wholesome.
ridiculous coming from
He's
me.
too wholesome.
Yeah.
He's like, he's that guy who like helps you with anything that you need. It's like, oh, thank you. It's
And
that
probably
guy.
breaks in the process of helping you.
Yeah.
But as far as the community goes, so I've been off and on for about 3 years now. I streamed really, really hardcore a few years ago. That's where I met Soaring.
Yep.
And then dropped off for a while. I had some real life stuff happen, and it was kind of meh. But I'm back now since January, and things are rolling back up top. Doing pretty good. I like meeting new people. I like hanging out with new people. I like opportunities like this, you know, to be able to talk to you guys and get your thoughts and you know, kind of pick your brains a little bit and have a few laughs. What else you want to know, buddy?
How'd you come up with your username?
So I like dinosaurs.
So my son does too.
I loved dinosaurs when I was a kid. That was, you know, every kid's got their like Rain Man kind of, I know everything about that kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
some people pick, my daughter picks owls. Mine is dinosaurs. So I'm an encyclopedia of everything dinosaur. And, you know, that's where the first one came from. And the ATX, that's something else. I don't, you know, it's personal.
Mm.
Yeah, it does not mean Austin, Texas. But I get that a lot.
Oh.
That's pretty cool. Well, all right, now it's my turn. So my name's Soaring Knight. I'll start with how I came up with my username, then we'll go into about me. So how I came up with my username is I was in Boy Scouts, and so I started at 16, and I did all the merit badges, and I got to Eagle Scout. Well, while I was getting to Eagle Scout, we went to Scout Camp, and once you hit like a certain rank, I couldn't tell you, I don't even remember any of it. You get to a point where you can become like a brave. It's like your first step into like what they call the tribe of Mikase. And so when you become part of the tribe, become a brave, you get the choice of going out in the middle of the night and sleeping out in the woods with all the other braves that got selected, and you come up with your name. My dad, my grandpa, my great grandpa, they were all in the tribe of Mikase. My great grandpa, can't remember the name. It's Listening Pine, Little Listening Pine, and Little Least Listening Pine. I think it's great grandpa, my dad. Well, I didn't want to be a pine tree because their logo was like a pine tree with like an ear on it, and I was like, no, that's dumb. I don't want to be that. Like, you know. So I remember it. We just woke up. It was probably 5:30 in the morning. The sun just came up. And I just noticed that there was a bird flying by. Come to find out it was a hawk, but I thought it was a falcon. And so I came up with Soaring Knight Falcon. And then over time, that gradually got shortened. And so now mostly, like for username's sake, I'm, you know, Soaring Knight 89 on Twitter and Instagram. That's just the year I was born. And then, but most people just call me Soaring in the community. And then my wife and my kids followed suit with the whole Soaring thing. So my wife is Faithfully Soaring 009, which is the year that we got together. And then my son is Kid Soaring. And then my daughter, she's iffy on it, but most times she kind of just defaults to Princess Soaring. So we kind of just keep the whole Soaring thing together. But anyways, about me, I've been a graphic artist since I was about 18 when I got my first laptop. Self-taught, did everything on YouTube to learn how to do everything. So I've been doing t-shirt designs. I'm wearing one of them. It's one of the first ones I came up with. And then in 2019, I had the idea that I wanted to be a little bit more outspoken. And so I toyed around with the idea of streaming. And then in 2020, I finally was able to build my first desktop PC. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and start streaming then. So in 2020, March of 2020, I started streaming. Shortly afterwards, I saw Raptor respond to a Harris Heller tweet. And I tweeted back with him, and then I saw that he was live, and so then I jumped in. We've friends ever since, and like I've been off and on with the whole streaming thing. I didn't really know where I belong. The whole imposter syndrome also kicked in too. I didn't think I was deserving of the following I was getting. I let that get to my head, and then I stopped. And then this idea came about, and I'll get to that when I talk about the purpose of it, like why I came up with the idea, why I wanted these guys to be part of it, and then what we hope to achieve. And then you guys can add in as you see fit. But I think that's enough about me. Any graphics you see for this channel, at least, will be from me. I know I've done emotes for Hangry, and I've done emotes for Raptor, as well as pretty sick t-shirt designs for Raptor that he hasn't posted yet. So
Come on, Raptor.
I'm waiting for the right time.
Timing is everything.
But yeah, that's enough about me.
All right, I guess that leaves me.
Yep.
So my name's Tyr, Tyr Mjolnir, but I usually go by Tyr. I think I'm gonna start with name too, just the easiest for me. So kind of funny story, maybe a little bit long-winded. I'm a big MMO player from back in the day. I played Final Fantasy XI actually. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, so shout out Hangry. That's my favorite game series. Been playing it since Final Fantasy 1.
Yep, my favorite's 4.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm a 7 kind of guy, but I've got some nostalgia around that, so that's kind of why. Even though that's super like super cliche to love 7, but 6 is amazing. 6 is fantastic as well. So I played Final Fantasy XI, was really into MMOs. Well, 14 came out. I didn't play 1.0 on 14. My brother did, and so he wanted to play MMOs together, and I was like, all right, well, I'll pick up 14 when it relaunched, right? So got to pick a character name. You got to have a first and a last name, which was new to me because 11 you had to have you just had a name, right? And so I had a name for that. But or kind of around the same time, I was raised as a Christian, but I'm not a Christian anymore, and I was kind of exploring my my spiritual side, and so I was kind of looking into Norse paganism, and so I actually made a character named Tyr Mjolnir. I was like, well, I need a first name, I need a last name. Tyr is the kind of the god that I feel compelled to be near, and everybody knows Mjolnir, right? What that is. So I was like, all right, here's my name. And so that's kind of how it started. It was like back in 2014 or 2013 whenever they relaunched Final Fantasy 14, and then from there it just became who I was because I was playing so much 14. I was already on Twitch. I think I started actually shortly after as a viewer, and so I just carried that name onto Twitch as the same. And then I really didn't start streaming until 2020, actually about the same time as you, Soaring. Right at the very end of February 2020, and then early March 2020. And when I started streaming, I'm also a huge League of Legends fan. So I was playing League of Legends. I'm like, I really love this game. I would love to just kind of play it and see kind of what happens. And I was watching people like Tyler One, some of these other big streamers like Cutie Pie if you're into the League scene. But kind of along the way, I stopped playing League because I fell in love with connecting with people. And like you're playing a really competitive game, it's really hard to focus on chat. And I found that the most joy that I had during streaming was like meeting these people, talking to these people, making them happy, hearing about their day. And so this thing that kind of started out as a challenge for me because I'm super socially awkward and I'm a big introvert. And I kind of just wanted to play games and see kind of what happened. Turned into this thing where it's like now when I stream, I'm worried about catching up with the people that I've seen or haven't seen since the last time I streamed or haven't seen in a month or two. And it became this whole community building thing where I find way more joy in chat interaction than I do playing the game. Now, don't get me wrong, I love video games. It's 100% what I probably would love to do. And if I had one job, I would just play games forever, especially RPGs because that's my thing. But there are days when we'll turn on a game and we won't play the game for an hour and a half because I'm talking to chat, we're vibing, we're doing stuff together, we're doing chat interactive games, we're just catching up. My channel is super crazy. We like to call ourselves the Ludus channel on Twitch. So I encourage people to explore their sexuality. I encourage them to be themselves, but it's always with respect and always with consent, which is kind of our message. Is like, hey, come in here, be yourself. I don't care if you're a male, a female, non-binary, trans, like how you identify. It's more about who you are as a person and how you treat other people. And so that to me is the crux of what we do. So we're going into, just had our 2nd anniversary back in March. I'm working on year 3. And that's just what brings me joy. At the end of the day, I'm not really focused on viewership, partnership per se, because I think if that is a goal at the end of the day for me, then I'll get there. I'm just not worried about it. It's really about connecting with these people, and they've changed my life as much as I've kind of been. They tell me that I've been a part of their lives, because we connect through Discord and Twitter and just all the social media pretty much every day. So, kind of a long-winded story. It's kind of how the name came around, and it's kind of how my community is as well.
No, that's great. It's funny you mentioned that you were raised Christian. I didn't start becoming a Christian until I was about 16. Like we were like a late bloomer family. Went to church for totally the wrong reasons. A little bit of backstory before I go into the purpose. Growing up, I was physically abused and emotionally abused, and so that will tie into the purpose of what I want to see others, but we went to, we became Christians for the wrong reasons. My dad had the idea that if we learn to fear God, we can then turn to fear him. But there's a silver lining to that. Though we went in there for the wrong reasons, conviction led to that, the whole drive of us going to church for the wrong reasons. It got flipped on its head. First communion that my dad was given the choice of taking, he felt a real conviction in his heart, and at that point he made the complete 180 change. He stopped being emotionally abusive. He started reading his Bible. He started doing all this stuff, and it led to me being the man that I am now. So while I understand Christianity is not for everybody, there is good that can come from it, but it kind of leads into the whole purpose of why I wanted to do the podcast. So I'll be a little bit vulnerable. Let's see, the 16th, that was... So I work for a shredding company, and every now and then I like to, when we get done, like I'll have to weigh some of the stuff that I pick up, because some of the customers, we charge them by the pound for what we shred. Sometimes I'll jump on the scale just to, be fun, see where I'm at weight wise. And one day I hit the scale and saw the number I've never seen before. Usually I float around about 235, 240, maybe 250 most. I was about 255, almost 260 on the scale. It was flirting between those two numbers. That was the heaviest I've ever been. And I felt so defeated, because I was making sure I got my steps in at work. I was trying to eat healthier. I know I was still drinking a crap ton of soda and energy drinks, so that's not good for me. And I'm still working on it. But I felt so defeated because, I thought I was doing all the right things with a little bit of hiccup here and there. And then to just see that number on the scale just, really, put me in a bad state. So I took a picture of myself with, I just got done with the shower, made sure I put a towel on, because, we don't want to break TOS. And
break it.
So made sure I had a towel on. I took a picture of myself in the mirror. You could see the muffin top, you could see my man boobs. It's not a fun picture to see. But I posted that picture to be vulnerable, to say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm be working on. If I can get 1, 2, maybe 3 people, messaging me here and there, say, hey, how are you doing? Are you staying with your goals? Where are you at? That's ultimately what I wanted. Before that night was over, I had over 20 DMs. and that they were so appreciative of what I did, because they struggle with weight. You know, they would never want to put that out there for themselves, but they saw that I put it out for me. So I went out for that night. So I started doing a thing. I need to get back to it because it's been almost 5 days since I've been out for my nightly walks, but I'll get back to it. I'll do that tonight when we get done here. But started doing a nightly walk where I just walk around my neighborhood, make sure I get my steps in for the day. I already hit my 10,000 steps, so I'm not too worried about it, but I'll still go out tonight. But so while I was out on my walk, I just thought about this idea of what if I wanted to start a podcast for a while, but didn't really know what I wanted to start it about. I thought about I'd do one with my wife, and we talk about relationship stuff, and I let that one fall through. We had the momentum, never got to recording, I let it fall. But then I started this one, and didn't have a name, but I just had an idea. What if we got guys together, talked about the struggles that we deal with, maybe give our hot takes on certain subjects, because we all have different point of views. We all come from, we're all in different age groups. We all live in different states. I know I'm in Missouri, Raptors in Florida, Hangries in New Jersey, and Mjolnir, you're where?
Texas.
So like I said, we're all in different states. We all have a different point of view that comes to it. So, and there's a couple other guys that are in the group that couldn't make it for this episode, but they will be probably for episode 2 or 3. But they all come from a different place. And so I had this idea that what if we all brought our different experiences together in a podcast and showed other guys that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to post about your struggles, and it's okay to lift each other up. Because I know growing up, we were always told, here, let me drink water. My mouth is super dry. Growing up, told that I can't show weakness. Men don't cry. Men don't wear pink. We're not to show emotion, because showing emotion is showing weakness. We're told that we're supposed to carry the world on our backs, and when we can't carry it anymore, where are we supposed to go to it? Because as soon as we start mentioning that we're struggling, we got, other men are like, oh, well, just suck it up. It'll be all right. Just suck it up. Or man up. Like, that's the most asinine thing I've ever heard. Telling another man to man up. Like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Well, yeah, you're hitting on a point that I think is it's been perpetuated for God knows how long, right? So whether it's through media or movies, like just magazines, whatever it is, right? The guy with the 6-pack abs,
Yeah.
The chiseled jawline, right?
Yeah.
The handsome, outgoing, charismatic, James Bond type individual. And that's
Chicken
something
not
that's-
stirred.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just men, but I think it's harder for men because of the fact that we're told to just kind of suck it up, and we're not expected to have the outlet of being able to share how we feel without being judged.
Yeah.
So exactly to your point.
Or, we're also, women are like, well, I just wish you would show more emotion. I would show more emotion. But then we have we have multiple generations of men telling us to do the opposite of that. And so, my son, he's just about, on Saturday, he's going to turn 11. And I'm terrified of the world that he's growing up in. Because, pulled in different directions. He's told that he's supposed to be this way, but he's this way. He's autistic, so he's not going to understand all those social cues that, we do. And so the idea is that I want to, I understand that we might cuss here and there, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with cussing, but I want to create an outlet that, hopefully my son can watch and say, that's how you be a man. That's how I should be, to protect women, children, and any person that's being bullied, to be able to show emotion and have that relationship with his spouse eventually, that I'm 12 years of marriage, and I'm just now getting to that point where I'm okay with showing emotion, and then my wife can see me vulnerable. And I want my son to have that from day one, not wait 10, 12 years and then like, oh, now I get it. So that's the whole idea of the podcast, and over time it will morph and it will transform as we begin to morph and transform as well. Before we go too far along, there's 2 other members that are part of the podcast. They're not here today. First one is Boothby. I don't have a whole lot of information on him just because his panels are pretty bare, but I'm just going to read his about me. He's a frequent chatter in Raptor stream. If you die, he will play sound effects, and he is not afraid to do it.
Damn troll is what he is.
Yep. So Boothby, his about page says, I'm a husband, dad, self-proclaimed nerd, video game enthusiast, and aspiring streamer. Currently on PS4 and working to upgrade and share more of my gaming passion. So that's awesome. He says he should be available for episode 2. And then same goes for Mr. Canada himself, Big Bosh Gaming. His about me is, I'm pretty simple. I'm just a dude who loves animals and sports. We have a chill stream here, just having fun. Come say hi and don't be shy. He's a Canadian. He loves the sports. In his Discord, he'll be watching hockey. No, never. He'll stream hockey games in his Discord, and you kind of just come and chill out with him. He's pretty vocal about legalizing pot. You'll see him smoking on stream, and he's got a couple people in his chat that are total trolls, and they just annoy the hell out of me because it's hard to have a conversation and then hear fart sounds or sheesh in the background like every 35 seconds.
Yeah.
So
Half my damn stream is cutting out the words "damn it, Boothby."
yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, so while crap, I lost my train of thought. So hopefully we'll have those guys pop in on an episode or 2. I also do want to talk about current events, and then also if there's any topics that anybody comes up with, post in the Discord. That way we can kind of check it out, see if it if we have a take that can be on stream. Because I don't want you to hold anything back. Your 100% opinion is valid. It's a safe space. We're not gonna tear you apart on social media because you have a hot take that no one else agrees with. That's okay. That's part of having an opinion. And plus your opinions can be challenged. So if I, have a take on something you said, challenge it and use that as a growing point, not as something to, to make it, put a distance between us. So we can also talk about video games too. I know a lot of us are gamers. Pretty much just cover the full spectrum of, just topics. So is there anything anyone else wants to add before we go into the next part?
Yeah, I got something.
Yes.
If you act like you have all the answers, nobody's ever gonna think you're hurting.
Correct.
That's why man up doesn't work.
Yeah.
And most of the people that tell you to man up don't know what the fuck they're doing to begin with.
No.
Don't get me wrong, there are times you need to man up. Like, if your family's in a burning building, man up, get in there. But
situations where the term man up to me has always mean do what you got to do. It can be for men, women, children, anyone. I tell my daughter all the time, just do what you got to do. It could be anything like schoolwork. It could be she's having a hard day at school and someone was bothering her. It's like, look, do what you got to do. You would ignore that person. You can confront them. You can just I'll direct her. I'll guide her, give her suggestions. But in the end, you do what you got to do. The term man up, I think, has gotten, I don't want to say a bad rap, only because it's used like, oh yeah, no, walk it off. And
Right.
and that's, to me, it's always been, that's not been it. It's been do what you got to do. Like, sometimes decisions in life are hard. Decisions in life, they're hard. It could be anything from, oh my God, what's growing on my arm? I think I have to go to the doctor. I don't want to, but I got to do what I got to do. I knew one guy way back in the day. His phrase was, sometimes you got to put your cowboy boots on and do what you got to do. And that's what I grew up with.
Yeah. Yeah, it should mean more. Like to your point, it does get a bad rap, but it's really when I think about Man Up, it's like you gotta tough it out sometimes. You gotta persevere, right?
Yeah.
Don't let this get you down. Push through. But I think to your point too, it's like okay, I got a broken leg. I'm not gonna walk that off, right? Like I need to probably go see a professional because I'm not gonna be able to just rub some Windex on this one and move forward. So
And in the wrong situation,
right.
To Soren's point, we need an outlet as well. I'm talking as far as men go. If you're in a rough spot emotionally, mentally, the term "man up" really isn't there. It should be, how can I be there for you? How can I help? What do you need to talk about? I don't know if I'm making much sense, but the term "man up" doesn't really fit that situation. So I think that's where it's getting that bad rap, where the idea of men showing emotions or men reaching out for help. I've been married to my wife for about, she's gonna kill me, but 11 or 12 years now.
One of the two.
And I reach out to her. She's my support. She is, my everything to me. If I'm feeling just my life, my full-time job is stress from 9 in the morning till about 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. It's nothing but stress. I work in customer service and sales. So either I'm getting yelled at for things that aren't my fault, that other people have screwed up and I'm trying to fix it, or I'm reaching out to customers to try and get their business that aren't quite happy with our service. So that's my day for 8 hours a day, and that's part of the reason I stream, just to get rid of that stress, to have an outlet, the creative outlet, and to just talk with people, and just kind of just loosen up. So I know there have been some days that have been harder than others, and I have no problems with leaning on my wife emotionally and just telling her about my day. And to me, the term "man up," uh, that's not something you tell someone who feels that they can't be vulnerable, they can't talk to somebody. And I guess that's my.
I think it's used way too much. It's used on everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's you can't put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, man. And a lot of stuff you can't see. You know what I mean? Like you don't know the entire struggle somebody's been going through. If somebody trips over something and just breaks down, maybe their father died today and that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Man up needs to be used as much as don't be a dick. You know what I mean? Like ask a damn question. Because people tend to use it for everything, and it's euphemisms just like that. It's not only man up, but it's like suck it up, you'll be fine, put on a helmet, take some iron, like it's stuff like that, and it's crazy, man. Everybody thinks they have the answers, and man up is not it.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to admit that I'm scared for my dad to pass away. He's been dealing with cancer. I can't remember how many years, but it's been a while. Like, he just started chemotherapy on the 24th, and I just talked to him, and I'm just, I still have a lot to learn from him. And, to know that my time is numbered with him, really, really makes me both anxious, scared, sad, mad. I don't want to lose my dad. And, then I also think, I try to think of the time that I have with my son. I need to, be better about teaching him, that it's okay to struggle. It's okay to be vocal about your struggles. You know, people in life are just going to be dicks, and they're going to tell you to man up when, you know, like Raptor said, when they don't have the answers, you know, they fall on the euphemism because it's the easiest thing they could say. It's the first thing that comes to mind because they don't have the wherewithal to come up with an actual answer. So
They don't want to deal with it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So talking about stuff like that makes a lot of men uncomfortable too. Hearing it, like, oh, hold on, man, that's too close.
Yeah. Or like when people say, "Hey, how are you doing?" Or like, "How's your day?" And then the first thing is like, "Oh, I'm just living the dream." Or, you know, another day, another dollar. You know, it's the first thing that comes to mind. And people, like, if you give an answer that isn't one of those answers, people are like, "Hold up, wait a minute. That's too much information."
Yeah, I don't really care. Sure.
It's like, no. I just want the catchphrase. Just keep on going.
That's my every.
I'm like, whose dream is it? Whose dream is it?
But and then to go with the name, I was talking with Raptor. And I was like, "What the hell are we gonna call this thing?" Because I had no idea, and I don't know where, you know. I was reading something, and then next thing I know, Forge came to mind. And then when I thought of Forge, I thought of Halo. And then when I thought of Halo, I thought of, man, I really miss Forge mode. And then I messaged Raptor. I was like, this is what I'm coming up with. And he's like, what about We Forge On? No, I said We Forge On. You said something else. But anyways.
You said something really, really long. And I was like, why don't you just cut it off at We Forge On?
Oh, I remember. Okay, so the tangent about me being scared of my mom and dad, I was talking to him, talking about the podcast, and he was like, well, do you have a name yet? I'm like, well, no, not really. And then, you know, knowing my dad, he'll give you a Bible verse. And he said Proverbs 27. I don't know the exact verse. Don't throw a Bible at me. I don't, you know, I'll read it later. But anyways, the passage is iron sharpens iron, so too a man should sharpen another. Meaning that, you know, we're not to tear each other down. We're to lift each other up. We're to strengthen one another. Another phrase that comes to mind is the hammer that is used to break glass can also temper steel. You know, much like that same hammer could be used to tear a person down by saying negative things. You know, Raptor, your glasses are goofy. You know, that's tearing you down. Where I could say, your glasses are kick ass.
Sir?
I mean, I could say, you know, I could say a negative thing, and what is it going to do? One, it's going to make me look like a dick. Two, it's going to make you feel bad because now you're like, I was having a good day until that guy was an asshole to me. But on the flip side, if I instead say something positive, Raptor went away. If I say something positive, you know, I can, you know, build somebody up. Hey, I really like your smile. You should do that more. Or, you know, I really like your work ethic. You're doing a good job. I really liked how you handled that customer. We like to see more of that. You know, instead of tearing people down, like constantly on Twitter, I see people with, you know, differing of political views tearing each other down. It's annoying. Like, we get it. You believe this way. I believe this way. Let's meet in the middle, see if we can grow together, or shut the fuck up. Like, I'm tired of my Twitter timeline being filled with all these keyboard warriors saying how the world should be, but it's not how it is. I have my
most heated I've ever heard him get in 3 years. That's 2 F-bombs in like 10 minutes.
And that's okay. There's probably going to be more.
Guys.
You know, I have my theories about things. And I'm not afraid to be vocal about it. I don't care if we lose all my followers. Nothing's going to get done in the world. Democrats are going to say they're going to do gun control. Republicans are going to shoot it down because of the, you know, they're bought by the NRA. Case in point, lobbyists suck. You want things to get done, get rid of the lobbyists. You know, that will go with health insurance. We will have universal health care if we got rid of the, you know, big medical insurance that are spending all their money on advertising versus actual care for people.
Yeah, big pharma.
big pharma, people getting addicted to opioids instead of, I don't know, legalize marijuana. We have multiple states that have it legal. We can see that it's working. Tax revenue is record high in those states. Less people are getting addicted to opioids. They're probably living a healthier life. Obviously, put your guidelines, like, you can't have, your medical marijuana this amount of time before you go to work. It's not hard to do these things, but, so, shut up, keyboard warriors. I don't care what you say, unless you run for office, and then we'll talk. Another thing I was thinking about today is the term alpha male. I heard it 3 times in the last 3 days. Someone talking about alpha male, and yeah, well,
yeah. Let's talk about how Tier's so yoked.
Shh, we don't talk about that.
But I don't know how it came up in conversation, but someone was talking about alpha male, and first thing off the bat is, if you're an alpha male, you don't have to say you are an alpha male. Like, you're just the alpha male, and everyone knows it. Like, you don't have to announce. It's like the new Batmans. You have to come in a room and say, "I'm Batman." We know that. We see the costume. We see that you got the Batmobile. You don't have to say you're Batman like every 30 seconds.
I'm alpha male.
So the same goes for alpha males. It seems like every Instagram dude with a 6-pack is like, "Oh, I'm the alpha male of my pack." No, you're not. You're the beta male. Sit down.
He wants a fucking brownie. I'm gonna tell you right now. 6-pack wants a brownie.
Yeah, dad bod's where it's at.
Pizza, man. Yeah, for sure.
Doesn't want a brownie.
I would much rather be yoked like Tier, but I can't do it. I'm too freaking tall.
Yeah, but no, I pose a question to you. When you guys think of the term alpha male, like, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Because I'll tell you what my thing that comes to mind. But I'll let you guys answer first.
Nothing.
See? See? Look at it.
I didn't want to go first, because that's like, that's alpha male mentality, right?
He's like,
no.
me.
No, so for me, it's funny because you say that, because, like, okay, so, like, a little backstory on me. I was a fat kid, growing up, and the nerd valedictorian in high school, like, head of the robotics team, played football for a couple years, but then I was like, nah, I kind of like this robotics thing, did that instead, graduated with honors, all that kind of stuff. But, like, when I got into college, I was like I ended up gaining a bunch of weight, and actually I got married on my 21st birthday. I've been since divorced, but I got the freshman 15 plus that comfort weight that you get when you're in a relationship, and, like, all that kind of stuff. And so I've been around, like, gym culture for a long time, between football and then, once I started gaining weight, I jumped into the gym, and, I've done some amateur bodybuilding, some amateur powerlifting. I've been involved in MMA. So, like, I've been around that culture. So, like, to your point, the alpha male, like, I've been around the stereotypical alpha male for years and years now. The guy who's in the gym grunting, who, has to make sure that he has the biggest, the highest max, squat and bench and deadlift, brain fart. The guy who has to go the hardest in the gym just to prove something, who has to win every fight, who can't tap when they're in jiu-jitsu. Like, so I've been around all that, and to me, that's just somebody who has so much insecurity that they're unable to honestly look in the mirror and find a way to get better. Because those folks, like, if you truly are looking in the mirror, you're going to look at the opportunities. You're going to look at you're going to give yourself an honest assessment of where you can improve. Whether that's in the gym with a lift, whether that's in business with, like, hey, I'm not as good of a leader as I should be. And I use the word leader, not manager, because managers are totally different than leaders. And at some point, I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point in this podcast or another one. But you've got to be able to give yourself that honest assessment. And I think a lot of folks who get into positions of power or think they should have a position of power based on physique, physical, just being tall, like, beefy, strong, or in a position of power, like in a business setting, they all think that they're alpha males just because of their position, and then they haven't earned it. And so for me, it's nothing like that. An alpha male is somebody, to your point, who they don't have to say that they're an alpha male. They just come in and they know their shit. They get the job done. They're somebody you can count on who, is going to lift I say lift others up, but somebody you can just count on, whether it's because you need emotional support, physical support, whether you need business support, like somebody who has all the answers in a way that they're going to help you get stuff done. Now, they may not actually have all the answers, but they're going to find a way to help you get to the result that you need. And so like it's weird because I'm saying all this stuff and it feels like I'm trying to be an alpha male and everything that I do personally, but like my goal is just to be a better person, and through that, I can improve physically, professionally, whatever. But at the end of the day, like I just want to see when the people that I support that are around me are successful, like that's the best thing. That's the best thing in life. That's what's bringing me the most joy.
My before I was doing what I'm doing now, my position with the company was a supervisor, and I led a team of about 11 people. And I always told them that my job is not to write you up, not to check your numbers. I have to because that's what they need me to do. But my job is there to support you, make sure you're doing the best thing, the best job you can do. My door is always open. You can always talk to me. Um, and just I wanted to be there not as like a disciplinary figure, not as someone who's always breathing down your neck. I gave all my people all the room they needed to succeed. If I did notice they were slipping, then I would have to step in and do the business. But and even to this day, I still have some of them reach out, and they would be like, you know what, you were probably one of the best people I ever worked for, and that like hits right here. First of all, mainly because if we had questions, we would go to you. If you didn't know the answer, you would find it and come back to us. We had team meetings with like team building exercises, and I just wanted to make sure everyone was just successful, not just me. My success was the success of the rest of the team, essentially, and that's what I always told them. I want to make sure they had the tools that they need. So to your point, um, alpha male, the figure that comes to mind is that gym rat. That the protein shakes, and they're down in that with like you know I don't even know how much weight people. It's impressive. I want to say like 100 pounds, but that's probably like
That's
nothing.
super low, but that's okay. Yeah,
To me, it's like
that's
how
a
do
lot.
people do
Yeah.
that? But that's the image you get. But you can be an alpha male. It's such a weird term, I guess. Um, and I'm trying to think of something to replace it, but nothing's coming to my head. But yeah, along the lines of what you were saying, you can, I guess, be alpha and not flaunt it in people's faces, not take advantage of it. And that's what I always try to do. Sometimes it
It's
worked.
it's tough too. Like right now, like if you think about social media, you think about like the big social medias, right? So like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And I don't know about you guys. Like I'm still like I still hit the gym a lot, and like I'm still into fighting and all that kind of stuff. So like a lot of them, what I see is that stereotypical alpha male, and it just perpetuates it because you see an Instagram post, and maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you want to be more fit, and so you scroll through and you see this guy who's just ridiculous. First of all, he's running gear. First of all, he is definitely on on steroids, on test, and he's on a bunch of stuff that he's putting in his body, by the way. But you see these guys, and it's such an unrealistic body standard. And to Raptor's point earlier, that man is probably not eating unless he's running a lot of gear. Um, it gets perpetuated because that's what gets the likes, and then that feeds the algorithm, and that's what you see, and that's what the next person's gonna see, and so on and so forth. So it becomes really tough because 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was the Arnolds, it was the Sylvester Stallones, and you really only saw it on like TV and movies. But now I can pick up my phone right now, and I bet you if within three posts on my Instagram, I will see somebody who is like ridiculously fit. And it's taken me a very long time to understand and recognize that I personally, from a place of vulnerability, again, I struggle with body dysmorphia, and I have since I was overweight when I was significantly younger, which led me to kind of get into the gym culture and to fight and all that kind of stuff. as a cause or as a result. But it's taken me a very long time to be able to scroll through that and just not be so damn hard on myself about seeing this person who probably doesn't even have a 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call a stereotypical job because he can post one thing on Instagram and get 100,000 likes and have sponsors and stuff, and he can spend 8 hours in the gym and look like that, and then also run gear. But it's not something for the uneducated or the person who's struggling. If that's in your face and like you want to change and you want to be somebody who you feel is more alpha, stronger, just somebody you want to change yourself for the better, quote unquote better, like that's what you're gonna see, and that's really really hard to see mostly that as you scroll.
Even the Marvel movies, you see some of these the Chris's
Gear.
holy, they're jacked.
Yeah.
But the thing you don't realize is, they got the personal trainers,
The chef.
the chefs and the 24/7 constant monitoring
Yeah.
to train them for the role. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of work in the background that you don't see, but you watch the movie and you go, "Wow, I should be like that." And it's not not everyone is built to look like that. I mean, I sure as hell am not, and I have come to terms with that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Marvel because the new Thor trailer dropped a couple days
Yes, I
ago.
know what you're gonna say. I know what you're
And
gonna say.
it's funny, as soon as you said, the Marvel, I thought of Korg going, he hit the gym. He went from dad bod to god bod. And then the next thing I'm thinking of is Zeus flicking. He flicked too damn hard.
Yep.
Uh,
I think,
Trailer. I wonder if they're gonna censor it all in the movie. Curious.
I think that one of the main traits of a true alpha male is somebody, again, like you guys said, doesn't have to say it. You know what I mean? Doesn't have to project that. He does what he can for everybody around him, no matter what. He doesn't need the title. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the fame. He doesn't need the fortune. And to Tier's point, so I'm a personal trainer, right? And I train athleticism. I don't train. I even tell clients, I'm like, I will not get you jacked. That's not my goal. My goal is to make you live a longer, healthier life and not get injured. That's my goal. That's why I'm 6'3". It's impossible for me to get yoked without gear. I know that. I don't care if I eat a chicken breast every 2 hours. My ass is not getting that jacked. It's not going to happen because my metabolism's I have too much bone calorie burn. Okay, but my personal training is all about the physiology and athletic health and connective tissue and rehabilitation because I've been catastrophically damaged before. I mean, like dead on a table, dead. So I know how it is to come back from something like that, and Man Up does not cover it. Okay, Man Up is something you gotta find. It's you can't have somebody tell you that. You just want to slap somebody. So an alpha male is somebody who helps somebody without the other hand out. You know what I mean? Who grabs somebody's hand and doesn't ask for something immediately. Who helps everybody regardless of their position. Doesn't bitch that they don't make as much money as their boss. When you outperform your boss, you get promoted. That's how it should work. But some of these broheims get a little threatened when you're running circles around them. So
I love that.
yeah, Broheim, Bohemian Rhapsody, Super Saiyan Broku,
Broham Lincoln.
Broby One, yeah, Broby One Kenobi.
Yeah, there you go. Love it.
But yeah, man, that's the thing, man, is that if you feel the need to tell everybody that how alpha you are and what you did today, and don't get me wrong, being proud is a good thing. You can be proud, but there's a difference between being proud for something you earned and being cocky about something you think you earned. And a lot of people don't get that distinction.
Yeah. When I think of the term alpha, I always think of I have a couple people in mind. My dad being one of them, but that's just because he's always there. He could be going through chemotherapy and you break down somewhere. He says, "All right, where you at? What tools do we need?" or like what happened, so I know what tools to bring. I got a couple other friends that are the same way. They're always the ones that are asked for help but never ask for help. People are always messaging, hey, I need help, and they're there 100%. Like, they could be having family dinner and their friend needs help, and they say, sorry, I gotta go help a friend. They go help their friend. An alpha male is the person that will go above and beyond for everyone else but themselves. It is always to their detriment. There's a reason why alpha males don't live long in the wild, because it's always to their detriment. They're gonna help their pack, and as soon as they get old and weary, the pack's gonna take care of them. But if the alpha is bitten again and they can't walk anymore, they're leaving the alpha right there. No matter how much they've helped, they're gonna leave them there because they need to worry about the pack. So I don't want this group of guys to be alphas. I don't want you to be alpha, because you're going to be taken advantage of. You're going to be asked for help to your own detriment, and you're going to help, and it's to your own detriment. I think the term that I would rather use is like the reliable male, the helpful male. Just something that isn't like alpha, beta, gamma, whatever. Just be helpful. Protector. Protector, provider. So, what was I going with that? I don't know where I was going with that. But, yeah. Oh, I will be naming this episode, Do Alpha Males Dream of Protein Shakes? Because I'm a huge nerd, and I was thinking of Blade Runner, based off the book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? So, I mean, I'm a nerd. I'm going to use it in titles. Yes, they can be delicious, but I don't know. I just don't like what it does to me.
I drink my protein. You probably need some whey isolate. You probably need to get some nice extra processed stuff that won't digest.
Yeah.
Won't be.
Yeah, won't make your farts smell like.
Yeah,
yeah. Ew.
Yeah.
Oh man, that the regular way, man.
Protein farts is so bad.
Ooh.
Tori, you said something that I thought was interesting. It was like, you don't want us to be alpha males to like our own detriment. Like, you don't want to be like, you don't want to sacrifice yourself at the expense of others.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've struggled with. Like, even since starting streaming, like early on, it was kind of like about me. It's like, I like playing video games. I'm doing this thing. I'm gonna share it with other people. Yeah, but like, let's see where it takes me. And then, kind of as I fell in love with the people that I got to meet through streaming and the community that I built, it's like, I personally have always struggled with opening up. And it probably wasn't until, early this year, even after a year and a half of like helping people and having DMs open and being available and like, literally have had people call me while on stream and had conversations, like talk them off ledges, while they're drunk or while they're about to do something stupid, that like this year where I finally was like, hey guys, this is what's going on with me, and like I want you to know that this is the mental headspace that I'm in. So like, I don't have any kids. I'm married, but I have a dog, and that's like my baby. And so she's been through lots of health struggles, and like when she is sick, like it just ruins my world. As a matter of fact, she's sick right now. Actually, she's in the hospital this week. She had an episode where we had to take her in, but things should be okay. But early this year, like she was getting sick, and I didn't know what was going on. And I was like, guys, I just have to let you know that like, if I'm not present on socials, if I'm not responding to messages, like here's where I'm at. And lots of people just like, they reached out to me, and they said, hey, just want to let you know if there's anything we can do. Like if you want to talk, whatever. And it was actually what really made me understand like what the impact that I had for others was. I had my community come together, and they said, hey, we started a GoFundMe for you, and we know how expensive it is for your dog to have this surgery, and so we want to just help. It might not be we're not going to be able to cover it because vet bills are ridiculous, and I'm sure you guys probably know that. But if we can put a dent in that and just help you and show that we love you and for all the love that you give back to us, we want to. And so for like a whole week, they ran this GoFundMe and this drive where they were just running stuff to just help out for the dog. And like that to me was the breaking point where it's like, me being real and what I'm doing is really making an impact on people because they're doing this for me. Like, money, we don't. I doubt anybody here does what they're doing for money. Maybe they want to stream full time at some point, which would be awesome, personally, even myself. But like, I don't think we're out here to get like big and famous, and that's not the goal at the end of the day. So for people to kind of give back to me in that way, very selflessly, was like it just really opened my eyes to the impact I'm making, and then just also it let me know that the connections we're making is genuine, and that it's okay to be myself too, because they want to be there for me as I've been there for them. And maybe the stress of work and trying to stream as much as I can and like do that thing, but also hold them up. It's okay to let them know that I am a real person too, with things that happen in my life that impact me and are gonna obviously impact my interactions with them.
Definitely, man. I mean, I lost my dog in July of last year. That dog was my buddy, man. That was, he's helped me through some shit.
Yeah.
And when I cried like a bitch, dude.
I've been crying all week long this week, so I don't blame you.
And I'm not ashamed. I'll tell everybody. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, I fucking love that dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've got a kid. I've got a daughter. But I still love that fucking dog, and I'll still look at his. I have a picture like with his, his paw print and stuff.
Yeah.
In the living room, and like a memorial picture. I still look at him like I miss that fucking dog.
Yeah. I mean, family is family, whether it's a furry, scaled, whatever it is. Whatever it is to you, the things that you love, the people you love, the beings that you love, are who you love, and they're important to us, right? And it shouldn't be any less for a furry friend than it is for a child or somebody else in your life.
Exactly, and animals don't judge.
Oh, for
They
sure.
don't.
Well,
we 5 years losing my dog this Memorial Day weekend, actually, and it still hurts.
Absolutely.
The night we brought him to the emergency clinic, the vet clinic. He was having seizures, and he was a rescue, so we weren't quite sure how old he was. But when we brought him in, they were like, he's elderly, and like he is, and his health was declining. We were noticing that he was like losing weight. We couldn't keep it on him, and the doctor kind of gave us, the vet gave us a couple of options. We could order a whole bunch of MRIs and tests. We can give him some medication, which might help, or it might bring him back to how he was yesterday. And we were just thinking about it, and we finally came to terms. I think we were not, we weren't being honest with ourselves that his health was declining. We didn't want to acknowledge it, and I think at that moment we did realize that he's not doing good. And we made a decision to it's hard to say. And he was in my arms when he went away, and I just felt him go. Like in that moment, I don't think I've ever cried so hard in my life as in that moment, holding him and just feeling him just go. And it's 5 years, and I'm talking about it now, and it still brings everything back.
I'm about to cry listening to you talk about it. Like
this fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, we might need to change the subject, but
yeah, we need to hold on. We need to bring this back up. Holy shit, man! I'm wearing sunglasses. They're fogging up in here.
Family's family. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and I am so happy. We had our dog like the first 3 years of her life, and she kind of sort of barely remembers him.
Yeah.
But we have pictures of them together and everything. So you have the memories, you have the good times, and
I learned how to walk from a dog. So like animals to me are like I used to hold on to my dog's tail, and he would walk, and it would pull me up as a baby. And that's how I learned how to walk. So like animals to me have been in my life, dogs especially have been in my life forever. So like I connect with animals at like the spiritual level. I 100% understand. And we had to have that conversation this week. We're like, if we can't figure out what's wrong with her, we've got to make a decision because her health will decline and she won't, she's not eating and I won't let her suffer. So I know how difficult that is. And yeah, 100%. It's family is family.
Yeah, my daughter keeps asking for a dog. It's like,
Yeah.
when are we gonna get a dog? I'm like, we're gonna wait on that. Okay, well, then can I have a sibling? Oh no.
Maybe a pet first, like
No,
a,
no, no.
a rat or
Start with
something.
goldfish.
Yeah,
Do that.
goldfish. That's smart.
Yeah, my kids have been asking for a pet, but because my daughter and my wife both have allergies, it's really hard for like to keep a pet in the house. Like my parents have dogs and cats, and then my in-laws, they have cats. And every time my daughter goes over there, she's excited. She gets to pet the animals, and then she comes home and she's all puffy. And she's like, I just wanted to touch the pets. And
Just get a poodle, man. They're hypoallergenic.
yeah, okay.
Faith didn't hear that.
No. No, right now we're kind of at the point where like we need to figure out like we need to get our shit together so we can get our forever home. But right now the market isn't really for it because it's a buyer's market, not a seller's. It's a seller's market, not a buyer's market. And so like a house that we were looking at maybe 2 years ago is now like 85,000 more than it was.
Yeah.
And like nothing's been done to it. Like we'll look through the specs like, no, this is the exact same. Like you didn't do anything to it. You just sat on it. And so it's
Damn ripoff.
yeah.
It's bad right here in Texas is really bad. We've been looking as well because we've been in apartments forever, and so we're looking for homes. Yeah, I'm probably gonna stay here for a while. My job is pretty secure, and to your point, like every house that we've seen, and we've been looking for about 3 months. You'll look at what it was appraised at last year. It's like and it's already ridiculous the cost of homes here. So like it'll be like 260, 270 last year, and then they'll be selling it for 400,000. You're like, what? How is that?
Yeah.
No, I'm not paying that. Like I'll stay in an apartment, I guess.
Yeah, we had a house down here. We were looking at moving last year, and we saw a house down here that was bought for $230, and they're selling it for $495, bro.
Just-
Like what?
It's
That house better
sickening.
give me a massage 24/7.
Yeah, it better clean itself cleaning. I need like a Jetsons house in that thing. It's crazy.
Jeez, yeah.
This thing better change my clothes for me.
You got oil and everything.
All right, so to go on to a lighter topic, let's grief is important, and we'll get to that in a different episode. But to just change things up before we end this for the first episode today, I don't want to talk about current events just because right now, based on the current events that are there, it's going to be
right
another
now.
downer, especially
where
with Tier
Tier
being
is
in
right now.
Texas.
Talk about that.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not your fault. It's not necessarily your state's fault. It's more of a federal thing. But, so just a question off the top of my head: what was everyone's favorite cartoon growing up? And if you need more time, I can go first. Growing up, it was a toss up between two. So I was born in '89. Started playing Pokemon right as it came out. The game literally came out September 28th, 1998. My birthday is the next day, so September 29th. And so I've been playing Red and Blue since then. So like the anime, I grew up with the anime. Ash Ketchum's my guy. I hate it when everyone's like, "Oh, we need to get rid of Ash Ketchum." No, he's the GOAT. Keep him in.
He's perpetually like 11 though.
That's fine.
It's kind of weird.
He grows.
Yeah, and he's perpetually voiced by a woman.
Hey, you know what? They got range. But
Yeah, Frieza was a woman.
yep. But I would say a show before Pokemon that I remember watching growing up was the movie just came out, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. That show was my jam. I love that show. I always identified with Dale because there's moments where I don't think things through. I just kind of act, and it just I charge in. I also have
Straight derping.
yeah, just straight derping. I also like of all the kids that were in my class when I was growing up. I I typically had like a bigger nose than everyone else, and so like I identified with Dale too because he had the big red honker, and so like Chip and Dale was my show growing up. And the movie's fantastic. If you haven't watched it yet, it's on Disney Plus. We are not sponsored.
Yeah,
I've heard
like-
good things about it, actually.
It is fantastic.
Sponsored by me.
Yes, I pay the monthly.
I think growing up, and it's funny, because we just got off the topic of alpha male. But my favorite cartoon growing up was He-Man.
Hey, you know
I knew you were
what?
gonna say
That's
He-Man.
okay.
I knew it.
So I mean, take that as you will. But I had the figures, I had the giant castles, I had everything that I'm sure I left scattered all over my house that drove my parents crazy, and that I wish I still had them in pristine condition because I think
Oh,
they're
yeah.
worth money
Mm-hmm.
now. Oh, but man, yeah, I would come home from school and that's the first thing I would turn on. It would be time for He-Man. And then later on, I think followed by like DuckTales and that whole Disney afternoon lineup.
The DuckTales theme song was a bop.
Variation there. I never
Darkwing
named
Duck,
it
man.
DuckTales, so.
Yeah.
The fucking late 90s was the best TV ever got.
Ever. Well, with the
That was
exception
it.
of
It just went-
Transformers.
And then you hit like 2012 and it just dropped off a cliff. It just got in the car and drove off.
Yeah.
Like, what are these kids shows now?
I just got into, my daughter's been watching, and I just got into Big City Greens.
That show's fun. I like that one.
Newer show. I love that show.
When we started listening to like D&D podcasts, we listened to one called NADPod, or Not Another D&D Podcast, and one of the characters on that show is the creator of Big City Greens. So yeah,
Nice.
we really like that show.
All right, Tia, tell me your cartoons.
You want me to go? All right. Let's see. So I think I grew up with kind of that same timeline as you guys. So like growing up young, like 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever that was. It was like those. I watched a lot of those Disney shows, the Darkwing Ducks, Ninja Turtles. Actually, was probably my very first favorite, and to this day I love Ninja Turtles, as if you can't tell. But then as I got into my formative years, I got into anime, and so Dragon Ball is actually Dragon Ball Z in particular is my favorite. My whole right leg is tattooed all Dragon Ball Z, mostly Vegeta and Trunks. But that for me, and that probably is also what put me into gym culture / fighting, all that
Oh,
kind
you
of stuff.
have to be Diesel if you like Dragon Ball, man.
I mean, you know what I mean? You can't be soft in Dragon Ball Z, right? So that was kind of what I grew up on then, and yeah, so I think probably Ninja Turtles into Dragon Ball Z is that. Nowadays though, because I still like anime, I still like animation for the most part. I'm just a lot pickier. Rick and Morty is so good. If you guys don't
Yep.
watch Rick and Morty, but I'm a huge fan of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I haven't watched the 5th season yet, just because, I don't know, the 4th season kind of went downhill for me. I think 1 through 3 is the perfect point, because it leaves Rick, somewhat still on top, and then obviously Morty's just Morty. I loved watching Dragon Ball growing up too. That wasn't until I was almost in middle school, or I was in middle school, because it was that. So I watched the show earlier than that. We had to literally, my dad would travel, and so we would go to Wichita every now and then, because that's where he was at for work, and we would stay in a hotel, and I was able to get one free rental a night. And of course, I'm the oldest of 5 kids, so I got to veto my siblings every single time. And it was
You're
around.
a dick.
Yep. It's all right. I'll admit it. But it was cool because they had the VHS for the Frieza battle.
Oh yes.
So
nice.
the Namekian Frieza battle, it was literally 3 different VHS I had to rent.
Oh, yeah.
So 1, 2, and 3, and it had all the episodes split between there. And my sibling just hated it. It's like, I want this movie. He's like, no, I need to figure out what happens here because we don't have cable at home. And so, yeah, I used to think that Dragon Ball was mid-tier until about the Frieza saga, just because it was so boring. Raditz was always, he had the long hair, which I think was kind of funny that Super Saiyan 3 now looks like Raditz. I thought Goku was a total dweeb. Like, how is this, like, he can't be the defender of anything, because, like, he's just getting his ass beat. He couldn't even beat up his own brother. He had to take a special beam cannon to the chest. So, no, it was around the Frieza saga that I came around. I was like, oh, okay, so he's the badass. He's the one with plot armor.
Oh yes.
And then if you keep up with the manga, Vegeta is getting a real power up, and it's so cool.
I may or may not have that on my leg as well.
Although I do want to see what an Ultra Instinct Goku and an Ultra Ego Vegeta would look like as a fusion of Gogeta, because in my mind I'm picturing Gotenks with the purple and the silver in the middle. I'm geeking out a little bit. I love anime.
Just melts.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
It's okay, Hangry. It's okay.
I watched Dragon Ball Z back in the day, and I think I stopped the whole Frieza thing. I didn't go on past that, probably because it wasn't shown on TV, or I just
Yeah. Well, I do remember because it was on. And now I'm brain farting. Toonami. It was on Toonami, and they because there was only so much released in the U.S., you'd get to that point, and then it would like start over all over again.
Yeah. And like, I don't feel like watching this all.
And the Ocean dub was trash.
Yes.
Yeah, and I wasn't a fan of the Ocean dub.
Ocean dub Vegeta was alright.
Yeah, so it's
But everything
funny.
else was trash.
They do here in Texas Kamea-Con every year, or they have for years now, for about 4 times. This is the 4th one, and they bring all the voice actors. First 3 were really cool because they actually had all the voice actors for like Vegeta, including the Japanese ones game. So if you're like a super weeb and you're into that kind of stuff, this past year wasn't quite as exciting because a lot of the Funimation actors and voice actors, they were elsewhere. But they do have that every year, about summertime, usually around summertime. It was early this year, but pretty cool.
Yeah. Now it's fun though to listen to the dubs, and it's like, oh, I know him from this anime, and I know him from this anime. So like, what show was it? We were watching My Hero, and obviously Chris Sabat is All Might, and then we go in to watch Black Clover, and like, that's
awesome.
That's Chris Sabat.
Well,
And then
Chris Sabat is in everything.
He is.
Yeah.
Everything.
But yeah, I love Dragon Ball as well, so I got Final Flash.
There we go. You'll love to see it.
But I also, I love Piccolo too. Got the meditating Piccolo, and then my mom got me Shenron. Love Shenron.
Yeah,
I want Piranga.
Piranga's
I
awesome.
like Piranga just because he's big and bulky.
He's almost as yoked as Tyr is.
Yeah. Sounds like a shirt idea.
My favorites when I was a kid, I really liked the Spider-Man cartoon. You guys remember that?
That was really good.
The Spider-Man cartoon. The
Or
newer
X-Men.
one, not the old 70s.
Is that the one that started with the guitar riff at the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. And then Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is actually what got me into doing voices. Vegeta was one of the first voices I ever tried as a kid, and it was awful. I'm much better at it now, since I've got the Adam's apple now.
Well, yeah, it's so good. It's now a channel point roared.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's very clippable. It's got a lot of likes.
There you go. Love that.
Nice.
And I do a perfect cell too.
There you go.
I didn't even know I could do that, and then I just started doing it. Okay.
Yes. That's awesome.
I had a Johnny Depp yesterday. Because why not?
I saw that clip.
Oh, that's
So-
because Boothie kept playing the Pirates of the Caribbean.
But yeah, I mean, Dragon Ball. I think Dragon Ball, at least in the complete work, you know what I mean. Like the beginning, the first season was kind of crap, except for when Goku started fighting Vegeta, and then it's like, okay, this is badass. But the Frieza saga is where the depth really came in, especially for Vegeta. That's my favorite character. If you haven't got that by now, he's my favorite character because everybody thinks he's a douche, and he's that alpha male, like, I must be a bro, and and he's like, I don't want to like things and stuff, shit. And then he's like, okay, well now I have to be a good dude and protect the planet, now the universe, and now I'm Goku, damn it.
I got a wife and kids now.
Yeah,
Yep.
shit.
Yeah.
Personal attachments.
I am out of the loop. Wife and kids.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
He married
Yeah.
Bulma, had Trunks, and then around towards so after Z and into Super, that's between that like shift, they had Bra, which is the daughter. And of course now he's like wrapped behind her finger. Like they make points of it in the manga every now and then, because he's like he'll talk about like he's got everything on the line, and then Goku is like, yeah, you got your daughter. Because Goku doesn't have daughters. So I think it's just a fun little jab.
Retraction real quick. I do want to issue a retraction real quick on what I said about the Ocean dub. The Trunks in the Ocean dub sounds diesel as fuck. Have you guys ever seen the Final Flash scene with Ocean dub's Trunks?
Now I'm
Holy
gonna have
shit.
to.
I'm gonna have to look
He is
now.
so like he sounds yoked. He's like, stop it. You know, because Funimation's no daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But oh man, the Ocean dub, it's like Vegeta's voice is way up here and Trunks is like, fucking no. Oh, it's so good.
As much as I love the official stuff, I still always love watching the abridged versions.
Oh, Team 4 Star is ridiculous. They're so talented. They're hilarious.
So good.
It's so good.
That's actually, you know what? The way they cut it and the way they edit it and cut out all the filler bullshit, I actually like that better than I like the original show. Sorry, but I do. I do like the voices better in the original show, but I still like Team 4 Star's actual editing better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of wish I can get all the other voice actors, but I want the Team 4-Star Goku.
Oh,
Muffin
man.
button.
Muffin button.
Yeah, so for next episode, we'll go over more like current events. That'll probably be the bulk of it. I have a couple topics, but then we'll finish the episode with current events. Talk about things that are happening in the world, whether they're global, local, national. And if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, you're always welcome to add it to the topics channel on the Discord. So while we get into closing, just know that any advice said on the podcast is not from professionals. We are all normal people here. So if you use any of our advice, your mileage will vary.
Normal. What?
You can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Any socials for all the members, any socials for all the members that are here will be listed in the show notes, as well as we'll be coming up with an official Twitter account so that we can post our schedule for when new episodes come out. It will be coming to Apple Podcasts first while I figure out how to get the Google Podcast set up, just because I don't, right now we're not making any money, so I don't want to spend any money if I can help it. So
Good
Yeah, I like
business
that plan.
yeah, so I will stick to the free options first for hosting, and then we'll start adding the Spotify's and all that other stuff. But like I said, all the socials will be posted in the show notes for all the members that are here, as well as the members that are not here currently. So yeah, I don't know how to end this thing. I haven't come up with a catchphrase or anything.
Can I say something real quick, man?
Sure.
So the only reason I've been making these dumbass jokes is to make you laugh, but you did pretty fucking good, dude. You did. I know you were nervous, but you did pretty fucking good. I'm breaking up, I'm just trying to break up the tension, ease your mind a little bit, but you did pretty fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hope it went better than you absolutely thought it would.
It did. I mean, my throat is definitely a lot drier. But
That's what she
so
Lubrication.
You know what that means?
said. Sir,
just spit on it.
that was too easy, man. That was
Nature-
right down the middle.
Nature's lubrication is spit. There you go.
You gotta open the throat, relax the jaw.
Yeah, my parents will not be listening to this.
Just cut that part out, man. Send it to me. I'll cut it off.
But
Versions of it.
crap. I had a thought, and then Raptor made me laugh. I think that's just how his
do that.
streams go. Like I'll be my keyboard warrior. I'm about to say something really funny, and then Boothy will play a soundbite, and then it completely detracts everything.
Damn it, Boothby.
Damn it, trolls.
Man, and my wife does the exact same shit. She helps him.
I know, and then she's like, why can't I not mod yet?
Yeah, she wants me to make her a mod on my channel. I'm like, have you lost your damn mind? Your track record is not impeccable. You're banning people left and right for no reason. Oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
Or unbanning people and then causing you to freak out.
Yeah, you banning random ass dudes. We probably banned a Twitch user that doesn't exist.
Yeah, but I did it for the lulz.
Content.
I don't know. Should we come up with a Twitter account for this, or because I don't?
Give it some time.
Yeah.
Give it some time. Don't rush into it. Don't burn out. Give it
Yep.
some time. Let it build.
Well, we don't have a schedule yet, so I'm not going to mention. Next episode will be then. Just keep an eye on your feed, and then we'll post it when we post it. But well, I think it's a good time to go ahead and call this a wrap. So Raptor, go ahead and send us off.
What? What am I doing?
You didn't know you were closing us out? Come on.
All right, fine. All right, guys. This is the end. Goodbye. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's been a pleasure talking with you guys. This is really cool. A great idea. I think that this could go a pretty long way because we each have our own communities and we're each in a position to be able to do some good, and that's what it's about. You know what I mean? It's not only about each of us doing well individually. It's about us being able to do good for each other, and it's about showing people that you can ask for help, and there are people who will listen. So I mean, and you can talk about things that most people don't want to hear. You just got to pick, you got to pick the right time and place. You know what I mean? And this is it. So when you hear safe space, a lot of people have that kind of negative, like, oh God, connotation. But I mean, like, everybody needs that safety. Everybody needs, like, home is where the heart is kind of mentality. You know what I mean? And I think that this is a big step in putting that out there.
Yeah. The main thing I wanted is, I wanted to create that space that, we can just be four guys just shooting the breeze, just talking about things that are happening in the world and trying to grasp our minds around what's actually happening. The internal struggles that we all have, we all struggle with stuff, and we shouldn't be afraid to, be vocal about it. Because I don't have the exact stats, but male suicide's a huge thing. Like, when you think of suicide, you don't immediately think of just males. You just think of like the whole spectrum. All the theys and thems, the he's and she's, and all that stuff. But if you look at the actual numbers, the male population is killing themselves more and more daily than any other gender, because we don't have that outlet that we can be vocal.
I think it's something like 2 times. If you go male to female, it's something like twice as often, and also like more successful because they do. And it's a tough topic, but they're blowing their brains out. To be completely graphic, they're not failing in their attempts either. So, and is that because they don't have an outlet? Is it because there's so much societal pressure? And I think that's a huge factor. Mental health is something that we probably couldn't talk enough about. And again, none of us are professionals that I know of. I'm not a professional, at least. But I for sure have struggled through depression. I've attempted suicide. So those are things that I can absolutely speak on and share my experiences with. And I think, to your point, Soaring, like, whether it's something like mental health, whether it's current events, we all are going to bring a unique perspective and unique experiences that we have had, just to show everybody points of views, and that it's okay to feel maybe one of the ways that we feel or have a different perspective on it as well. And just because it's different or not something that's one of ours doesn't make it any less relevant.
Yeah, so I have the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention website pulled up, and just to throw a stat out there, in 2020, men died by suicide 3.88 times more than women.
So even
and
more
then
than
on average, that's about 130 deaths per day. And break that down, men are 3.88 times more likely to commit suicide than women.
Almost 4 times. Yeah.
And then another stat they have is white males accounted for 69.68% of suicide deaths in 2020. I mean, that's, you know, just the 4 people that are here right there. That's 3 of us out of these 4. You know,
You're trying to say I'm not white?
no. But, you know,
I know I'm tan, but damn, dude.
no, I was ruling Tyr out because he's so yoked.
I tried it. Just couldn't reach.
He's not a man, he's a zip code. Look at it.
But
But no, on a serious note, I mean, what you guys are saying is true. I lost my little brother to suicide in 2014, right before my daughter was born, actually. So I mean, it's like I said, I'm a mental health advocate, truly through and through, because I've seen the damage that it can cause. A lot of people in my family have mental health issues, and not minor ones, not little kind of quirks, but serious, off the rails kind of mental health issues. Thank God it passed me. Nobody will say that, but it did. And you know, that's why I do charity work. That's why I do the charity streaming. That's why I volunteer. That's why, you know, because if I can help one person choose a better option than that, then the goal is 2 and 3 and 4, and it'll never stop.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why something like this, when he said, you know, he wanted to do something like this, I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. Because even if it's an absolute train wreck, it's still an attempt to do good.
Yeah.
And the right kind of good. You know what I mean? Tears, fire alarm's going off right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was angry.
It's like, come on, they don't have a hook.
But no, so like, you know, I wanted this to be a space that we can talk about the things that we struggle with. We can be an open platform for others, because when you go about creating a platform, you have to think about the people that are going to try and benefit from that. If we're coming in this without the good intentions, you know, we're going to end up doing more harm than good. So that's why I wanted to make sure people know I'm going to be vulnerable about things. I'm going to talk about, you know, my suicide attempts. I'm going to talk about the things that I struggle with, the things that I'm scared to death about, hoping that if somebody else hears that, say, hey, that guy's going through the same, you know, similar thing that I'm going through, I can relate with that. Let's see if, you know, if I can, you know, reach out, maybe I can get some help too. So I don't know if this number is the same for your area, but like I said, I'm on the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention website. And if you are in crisis, do not hesitate. You can text TALK, TALK, to 741-741, and someone will reach out to you. There's plenty of suicide prevention hotlines out there. That's just the one that I have in front of me. If you need help, there's people that can help you. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to step out. You know, any 4 of us right here, if you reached out to us and say, hey, I'm struggling, we're going to be there to help you. We're going to either we will talk to you, we'll point you in the right direction. You know, never hesitate to ask for help. But with that, if you're going to ask for help, try, and you do get the help that you need and you start to feel better, you know, try and be that for someone else too. Because so many people, they get the help that they need and they think they're all better. And then when someone reaches out to them, they brush it off. I've seen that happen a couple of times. And it's tragic to see, you know, the one person needing help gets help and doesn't want to help others. So return the help that you get to someone else, because you can be saving someone else's life. So,
Actually, I have something real quick to add to that.
Okay.
Like I was saying, we have a unique position to do good. So I'm gonna leave out names, but I'm gonna give a very short scenario. Okay. Somebody that I met in this community found himself homeless. his landlord is selling her house, or sold her house, excuse me. At the time, it was in the future. Selling her house in 2 weeks, gave him 2 weeks to leave. He had just moved to where he was staying. And it was a month-to-month lease. So she gave him 2 weeks there. He picked up his whole life and moved 2 weeks there, right? And then she kicked him out. He didn't know anybody, didn't have any money to go back home. And, you know, he reached out and he was like, you know, bro, I don't know what to do. And so I started looking up every resource I could find on the state that he was in for HUD homes, for shelters, for assistance programs. And I mean, I'm far away from the dude. I can't do anything. You know what I mean? I mean, all I can do is try. And, you know, he was like, look, man, I know you're trying to help, and I appreciate that. That means more, because I was one of the only people that offered to help him. You know what I mean? And because I would hope somebody would offer me that help. And so I firmly agree in the pay it forward kind of mentality. You know what I mean? Karma is a bitch, but she can be really nice to people who are nice to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do good, good will come to you eventually. And good will spread to those you touch in your life. You know what I mean? And that's why people say, well, I've done this, why don't I get that? Because it's diluted by the people you've touched. If you touched 1,000 lives, they get 1,000th of your good karma. It ain't all for you.
I think the other thing is too, don't do good with the intention of receiving good back. Do good to do good, because you're trying to help someone out. It should never be an expectation of, like, even if it's from that person, or even just like, oh yeah, the universe is gonna pay me back. It's just like, this is the right thing to do. Like, I would want somebody to help me in this situation. It feels right to provide, you know, maybe it's just lending an ear, maybe it's help. And I always tell people, like, I can't ever promise to solve any of the problems that you have if you come to me. And I won't ever tell you that I'm going to solve your problems. The very least thing that I can do is listen. And if you want me to give you advice or try to help you with resources, I will. But I can at least listen. I have 2 ears. I have 2 ears because I should be listening twice as much as I talk, because I got one mouth. So talk to me, let me listen, and maybe that's all you need, is just that person to vent to.
I heard my grandma just now. That struck so long. Like, I literally heard something from when I was a kid. I was like, holy shit. It's true, man. You know, too many people just wait for their turn to talk, you know? So I really agree with that, definitely. And I can tell you guys have good hearts, you know what I mean? I can tell you guys have good hearts.
Yeah. I mean, we just want to be the change we want to see in the world. Right now, the world's kind of shit. You know, and all we can be is the good.
My thing has always been, and I never really thought about it until I had my daughter, but just leaving this world in a better place for her. That's it. It's just that simple. Yeah, and like you said, the way things are going now, it's tough, but it's the small, simple things you can control that have the biggest impact sometimes. And speaking of daughter, I'm kind of on a hard break. She is knocking at the door, waiting to go to bed.
Oh. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
A curse word before we get off here. There's been a lot of deep, heavy shit in this podcast, man.
Yeah.
I need one from the wholesome dude. Just one. You can say, damn it.
Which one's the wholesome dude?
You.
Oh, damn it.
What?
That's it.
That was it.
It doesn't sound right coming from me.
Yeah, it's okay.
It did feel a little forced, but it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it's
Maybe
good.
in a few episodes, I'll loosen up and maybe my dammits will come out.
There you go.
So-
You just gotta, sometimes it just, you gotta let that stuff go.
Yeah. So in the middle of June, I do have an interview slated for Saya Sounds. He's the one that did the intro. I don't know exactly when that will be, but I will make sure to keep you guys posted. So we'll go ahead and call it quits for tonight. So just be good to one another, and though life will beat you down, stand tall and we forge on.